This is Don Noviello with the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife Habitat Program Oil Spill Team. And I just wanted to provide you a little bit more information on Washington State rehabilitation permits that would be pertinent to marine mammal rehabilitation. First of all, to rehabilitate animals in Washington, in addition to those federal permits from either U.S. Fish and Wildlife or NOAA that you would need, there are requirements for you to have a wildlife rehabilitator permit from the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife to do, if you're going to take, temporarily possess, or transport any animals for rehabilitation purposes. And that's under Washington regulations and the WACS 220-450. Now, so that's just general. Now, if it's for oiled animals, there are some additional requirements. You must have a oiled wildlife endorsement. And then you have to have permission to use or be in possession of a department approved facility suitable for oiled wildlife rehabilitation. For birds, that can be the mobile response units, the tents and pools and things that can be set up. It's a little less clear what it will be for marine mammals at this point, but we will work with you on that. So your facility also has standards that are required. And basically, we just want you to be up to the current edition of National Wildlife Rehabilitator Association and International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council minimum standards. In addition, there's general provisions that, these have to be humane conditions. You got to protect the animals from predators, weather, and undue human exposure. They've got to have physical and visual separation from other animals. And then there are additional requirements for oiled wildlife facilities. And these are basically, in addition to that oiled wildlife rehabilitation endorsement the operator has to have, that there are various spaces that have to be set up to accommodate the process of dealing with oiled wildlife. And in general, the process is to intake and stabilize the animals. Then when they're stable and ready, they do the wash and drying, and then rehabbing after, as far as getting their health back up. So your facility has to have temperature control for these spaces. It's got to have ventilation. It's got to have appropriate area for each of these spaces. And in addition, because animals will can die in care, you need a morgue area. And there's specific size requirements. And this is all in regulation. I'm not going to get into the details because it depends on exactly what you're trying to do with your facility and how many animals you are handling and which animals you're handling. But if you have more questions on this, we have a specialist on staff. Her name's Jen Manis. She manages the wildlife rehabilitation area, and this is her contact information. She's at our Mill Creek office. And if it's for anything with oil spills, you can also contact me, and my contact information is below there. So just to recap, if you're going to be doing rehabilitation of marine mammals, you do have to have a Washington rehabilitation permit. And if it's oiled, it's got to have an oiled wildlife endorsement, and you've got to have an appropriate inspected facility. Thank you.